to God that they come out with the most damning information on Obama, on the Clintons, on Mueller, on McCabe, on all of them. You know, I want to see some people go to jail. I'm not going to feel good unless somebody goes to jail. You know? Let's take a call from Gary in Hazel Park. Gary, welcome to the show.
Gary, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you also.
And to you.
I'm not an
officer.
Look,
I got I can figure out what to do with the United Nations.
Oh.
You just throw it out of the country. I mean, simple as that. And then you take that big, beautiful building and you parcel it up into lofts.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, I imagine they'd make some nice condos in there, couldn't you?
Yeah, but you use those lofts for returning GIs. And you set it up so that they have transportation and a way to get to and from their new jobs after you throw the illegal aliens out of the city.
Hey, you know how the Trump organization rehabbed that railroad station in Washington, D.C., right?
Post office?
Or post office, that's right. Yeah, that's...
I was thinking he did another one?
No,
man, he just doesn't stop. He's working.
Right, yeah. Well,
you're right, Gary, because you know what? I'm with you. Throw them out. What do they do for us? Let somebody else babysit them for a while. Why do we have to eat up all that cost of having that building and taking up that space? That's prime real estate, man.
And they get to park and throw away the tickets. You know what I mean? They get this diplomatic immunity. They can do whatever they want.
Well, that the parking thing's juvenile. Who cares about that? What I care about is the fact that for their, 50 years of existence, 70 years of existence, they've only done one or two things of note, such as making Israel a state and a couple other things. But mostly they just waste time. Yeah. They don't do anything except for, like you guys said earlier, rape and pillage. The things they did in the Congo, if you heard about that.
Yeah, and half the time we have to end up going in and bailing out the UN peacekeepers anyways because they're ill-equipped, ill-trained, they don't know what they're doing, and they're probably just causing more trouble anyways. So we end up having to send our troops in to bail them out, right?
Right. So it's a wasted organization. So just get rid of it and go back to the League of Nations or something.
Right, the League of Extraordinary Nations.
Well, I'm trying to remember which country it was that got set on the. They got in charge of the Humanitarian Council. You know what I mean? The Human Rights Council. And like one of the. Was it Uganda or something like that? You know, like, are you kidding me?
Uganda or Iran, when you put Iran on the women's...
Venezuela.
Yeah.
Let's take these people seriously. I mean, we really are.
Yeah.
We're really supposed to care what they say.
Yeah, it's absolutely atrocious. I, for one, agree with you. We could just get rid of the UN and be done with it. All right, well, thanks, Gary. Appreciate the call. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, you too. Thank you. All right, so we're back to talking about the waste of money, the Mueller investigation. And I don't agree with necessarily having the president just fire him. If Jeff Sessions wants to do that, that's on Jeff Sessions. But he's not finding anything, and I think everything, as you just said, that he's doing is going against the Democrats. Go ahead, Mr. Mueller, keep looking, because all you're doing is making the Democrats look worse by the day. Well, so let it keep going.
Sessions didn't he direct the Justice Department now to investigate the
Uranium
One?
Yes.
And that's going to lead to Clinton cash. That's going to just like the special counsel, Mueller, spread his wings in his area of interest, region of interest.
Yep.
Well, that investigation is going to open up a can of worms, and they're going to follow those worms all over the place.
Yeah, I think as they open up the Uranium One investigation, Mueller's name is going to come up. He's going to have to resign on his own. So I don't think you need to poke the dog and let the Democrats have a little leverage. Just let him ride it out, and he's going to resign on his own because he's going to look dirty. I think McCabe's going to look dirty. I think Rosenstein may not look dirty, but he's going to look incompetent and inept.
It may very well be that Mueller, in order to avoid any unwanted attention, says, well, you know what, we're done here, and just close up shop and hope it all goes away.
He might.
Yeah.
And the Dems keep pushing. Surprisingly, there was one Democrat who kind of said enough is enough. There was actually another one I saw this morning, a congressman, I think. But the new senator from Alabama, Doug Jones, had this to say. Derek, you got track 3 ready? This is Jake Tapper, and you can look at Jake Tapper trying to push the issue, right? So listen to Jake Tapper as he's talking to the new senator from Alabama, Doug Jones.
Agree with Senator Booker that President Trump should resign because of these allegations?
You know, Jake, where I am on that right now is that those allegations were made before the election. And so people had an opportunity to judge before that election. I think we need to move on and not get distracted by those issues. Let's get on with the real issues that are facing the people of this country right now. And I don't think that the president ought to resign at this point. We'll see how things go. But certainly those allegations are not new. And he was elected with those allegations at front and center.
I guess the question is, why should Al Franken resign if there are even more horrific allegations about President Trump, and no one is calling for him to step down?
Just reaching.
Well, again, I go back to the fact that those allegations were made, and he was elected president of the United States. And I think the American people spoke on that at this time. There's other things out there, but I think at this point we need to move on and try to work with some real issues that are facing the country and not worry about getting at odds with the president any more than we have to.
All right. So thank you, Doug Jones, for being one of the only honest Democrats out there. And part of that was probably because Donald Trump graciously called him up and said, congratulations, and hope we can work with you, and blah, blah, blah. So maybe this guy's going to go into the Senate and not be the raving lunatic that Debbie Stabenow, Gary Peters, and the other Democrats are, that
for as long as he's there until the next election.
Yes.
And the Alabamians get their Senate back.
Exactly right. Now, he may want to be one of those Democrat blue dogs, put himself up
like
in order to get reelected next time
like
around.
Manchin in Virginia. Yeah.
Yes. So, I'm disappointed in Manchin that he's not on with this tax reform. Come on.
Well,
stop.
That's true.
Get on board the train and work where it makes common sense to work with the president. This tax reform needed to be done. It's going to make things better. Whatever. Do the rich people get a tax cut? Yes, they do, but they pay most of the taxes anyways, people.
But remember, any Democrat that bucks Schumer is going to lose his any office he has. You know what I mean? They're going to
you're not going to get
on the same thing like they did to
committees.
Colbeck in Lansing. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you got nothing for you, sir, nothing.
Yes, but he's the newest guy anyway, so he's not going to end up on anything.
Yeah, but we're talking
important.
about Manchin.
Manchin would be. Yeah.
And as for Jake Tapper and his, Trump allegations are even worse than anything.
It's nonsense.
Are you kidding me? There's photographic evidence. There's Franken's own admission.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to it, as Doug Jones said there. The people, those women made those charges before the election. They couldn't be proved. As a matter of fact, they were disproved because that Leeds woman, who's the lady that said, he groped me on the airplane in first class. Well, hello. At that time, the armrests, he could not have lifted the armrests because they don't lift, right? So she's a flat-out liar, and the Democrats want to trot her out again, and that's Lisa Bloom. We're going to pick that up next week. Lisa Bloom, daughter of Gloria Allred, paying these women to come forward.
Right? That's good.
All right, until next week, go to thedailydrift.com, stay informed, and get on Twitter and try and get some help for our Republican Senate candidates, folks. Try and get on Twitter and Facebook, and let's get some help going for those folks.
And most importantly, have a Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas. Mele Kiliki.
Yes.
All right, see you next week.